The Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson, Michael, we have not seen him for quite some time. And once again, he missed practice on Wednesday due to the PCL injury in his knee. And a lot of questions about what's going on with Lamar. Will we see him in the playoffs? Because the Ravens are already in the postseason. They're going to be playing in that wild card game if they're not able to win the division. What do you make of all this going on? John Harbaugh seems to be kind of giving out cryptic messages as well. It feels like there's just a lot of uncertainty around this whole thing.
I thought today when I read this quote, I kind of like, to me, years ago, we used to do this thing on the daily. When we started this company called the National Football Post, it was Andrew Brandt, Jack Beck, and myself. Joe Fortenbaugh was there too, who's on ESPN now. Mm-hmm. We started this, and every morning, I would take like 10 articles and basically the quote from the article and translate the quote into what he really means, right? And it was all it was all my own conjecture towards what they were saying. And when I read this one this morning, when I read John Harbaugh say, I'm going to leave all the stuff alone and focus on the game, like, I don't know if this is true. This is conjecture. Mm-hmm. I got the sense that Harbaugh's tired of this. Like Harbaugh, like, he's tired of talking about it. Like, okay, when he wants to play, he'll come tell us when he wants to play. Like, we're just moving on without his ass. And I don't know if this is true. So again, this is speculative. There was frustration, and I'm going to leave all that stuff alone. Because Harbaugh's usually pretty much, we're going to see, he's usually pretty coy about what he says, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to leave it all alone and focus on the game. Basically saying, hey, Lamar, this is 2 years in a row now. You've kind of left us alone. I'm going to go focus on the game. Now, I'm not taking sides here. Like, I get Lamar have to be really careful because there's a lot of money at stake here.
Yeah.
Right. And this is one of the concerns you have when you don't get a contract done. And I don't know whose fault it is why it didn't happen, whether Lamar was asking for too much or the guarantees of Deshaun Watson. But this is really, let's be clear here, this is the residual effect of the Deshaun Watson contract here. There's no doubt about it. The full guarantee is playing a role here, even though people don't want to link A and B together. So I just got the sense, I don't know how you interpreted that, but I got the sense that that's what Harbaugh's saying. Like, okay, enough. Like, I can't heal his knee any faster. I don't have any magic potion. I can't make him want to heal it faster. I can't make him go to double treatments or triple treatments. I don't even know if he's doing all that, right? So, like, usually you see players say, hey, I'm really working hard to get back. We haven't heard any of that, right? Mm-hmm. So I think he's just saying, okay, screw it. We're going to go into Cincinnati, give it our best shot. We can't score any goddamn points. Our offense sucks. We talked about that on Monday. We'll try to do the best we can, and hopefully we can steal a win, and win the game and create some turnovers and find a way to win a next playoff game. Because I get the sense from that quote, I don't think he thinks he's going to be in a playoff game.
That's the one I kind of picked up as well. And I think that he's just like, quit asking me about a guy that's not going to be here the rest of the season for us.
That's exactly, you put it better than I said it. That's exactly what I thought. I'm tired of talking about this guy. And look, again, this is all gray, right? This is not, I'm favoring the Ravens here and I don't favor Lamar. Like, Lamar, this is what happens. I mean, this is what we call second order thinking, right? So when you're sitting in the negotiation and you're trying to get this done, when you second order think, that means you play it all the way out. Okay? Mm-hmm. And when you played it all the way out, someone in the room had to say, well, if he gets hurt, what's the chances of him wanting to come back from some injury that he could come back from knowing he doesn't have a contract? They're too smart in Baltimore to not ask that question, right? So they had to know when they said, no, we're not doing that, they had to know that this could be a possibility.
Do you think that there could end up being some sort of like schism between Lamar and the Ravens that boils over into the offseason to where maybe they use the franchise tag on him and actually listen to trade offers for Lamar Jackson? Because I doubt they're not going to use the tag. Like, they're not going to let Lamar just go off into unrestricted free agency and let him go to the highest bidder. Like, that would be flagrantly
That's a great
horrible.
Question.
But like,
that's a great question.
Like, where does this go?
I think what fans don't understand is the franchise tag is twofold. It tells the player in one instance, we want to keep you. Mm-hmm. It also tells the world, we have an asset that we're going to protect. It doesn't mean we want to keep you, but we have an asset we're going to protect. Like, you're worth more. It's like buying jewelry, right? If you spend $10,000 for a necklace and and you only spend 5,000 and it's appraised at 10, you're making money here, right? Mm-hmm. So it's the same thing. It's like, okay, I don't want Lamar, but to let him go to get a compensatory 3, I gotta get more than that. So I'll protect him. So I agree with you completely. I would suspect, knowing how difficult it is, knowing that we're almost going to get to 70 new quarterbacks on the year, that Baltimore has to wonder, if we let him go, where are we going?
Yeah.
I mean, where are we going?
It's because their record's too good to go find a guy.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to get one in the. I mean, what are they going to do? They're going to go after Derek Carr? Were they going to put him there? I mean, Tyler Huntley, they can't make any plays in the. Now, I'm not saying it's all Huntley's fault, and nor am I saying it's all Roman's fault, but that offense, even when Lamar's there, is horrendous. I mean, Lamar was averaging 6.9 yards per attempt. That isn't even close to being good enough. That's not even close to being good enough. And meanwhile, Huntley's down to 5.9. They have no passing game. I mean, think about this, Femi. I mean, here we are getting ready for playoff times. All right, here is their last 7 games passing. Okay? You ready?
Yep.
193 yards against Carolina. They scored 13 points. They got 253 against Jacksonville. They lost. They scored 27. They come back against that vaunted Denver Broncos. They get 182. They win 10-9. They play Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. They win the game 16-14. They get 94 yards passing. They come back and play the Brownies on Christmas Eve or the week before, and they get 126 yards. They play the Falcons, and they get $115 against one of the – let me just stop there for a second. Yeah. One of the worst defenses in all of football, the Falcons secondary, all right? They get 115. And then they come back against the Steelers, and they get 120. Like, how are you going to beat anybody with those numbers?
It's really anemic, I think, is the way to describe what they're doing offensively. You mentioned Lamar. When he was playing, he started 12 games this season. That yards per attempt, 6.9. That's almost a full yard less than what he was doing his MVP season in 2019 when he was at 7.8 yards per attempt. So, this thing has really just kind of gotten off the rails for the Baltimore Ravens. Thanks for watching the GM Shuffle with Michael Lombardi. And for more videos like this, make sure to subscribe to VSiN Live and the GM Shuffle podcast with Michael Lombardi, presented by DraftKings and VSiN, wherever you get your podcasts.